Hello, great people. To you, 2027 may seem far away, but to Nigerian politicians, 2027 is like the next minute. As former President Olusegun Obasanjo and his vice, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, met for a strategic meeting in Abeokuta, the APC, the Tinubu boys, are not taking it lightly. They have responded to the meeting, and we'll be looking at what happened after the meeting, what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said. We'll be looking at that in a moment. Then when we come back, we'll be talking about what is courtesy in politics, because Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said it's a courtesy visit. What does courtesy has to do with politics? What is political about a courtesy visit? What is the Obi factor in all of this? What is the 2027 factor in all of this? What are the dynamics that is going to shape 2027 from the Atiku side and the Obasanjo side? Then we'll be looking at their lifestyle over the years, their antecedent and trajectory to assert what the meeting could be about. We'll be doing this and a whole lot more on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omosoladeji. Let us watch what happened after the meeting, then we'll come back for some great discussion. Let's watch it.
Cool down now. Cool down.
Just courtesy visit.
Okay. A lot of people believe that you and Peter Obi have been having meeting for so long.
It's a courtesy visit, please.
Is this related to
I am not going to talk about politics, please.
Is this connected
Let's go. Thank you very much.
It's okay. So let's go.
There you have it. You just watched the former Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He made a statement in that particular video. He said he doesn't want to talk politics. When politicians hold a strategic meeting and they say that they don't want to talk about what they discussed at the meeting, or they don't want to talk politics, what does it mean? First, as a political scientist, I can assert that what it means is that they have discussed politics, but they are yet to reach an agreement. So in that particular meeting, they would have discussed politics. They would have discussed about 2027 and the power-related issues associated with it. But then, most likely an agreement has not been reached. So it would not augur well for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to now say anything about it. So that's why he might have said that, okay, that he doesn't want to discuss politics. Another reason is that they may have fought themselves, in the sense that they may have disagreed, they may have argued among themselves, they may have had one or two issues of quarrel among them. So in that kind of meeting, when you come back, the best thing for you is to keep quiet. Another thing is that if you engage in a political meeting and what they are discussing at the meeting does not favor you, in the sense that if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar wants to have the presidential ticket in 2027, but if the stakeholders there, particularly Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, is against his ambition, if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar comes out from such a meeting, of course, he would say that he has nothing to say at that point in time. So when politicians fail to address the press, you need to read between the lines to know that, okay, this is what may have transpired, and which I've shared some with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omosoladeji. And one thing that we need to note is that even if the meeting favors Atiku is very strategic. He's not going to speak too early because he knows the implication of that. Atiku Abubakar is not like the impeached speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa. No, Atiku is very strategic. He's going to wait till the right time before he discloses his ambition of what transpired at the meeting. But I can tell you from the look of things that meeting is not most likely about Atiku Abubakar. And if Atiku Abubakar goes there to launch his presidential ambition, definitely is going to hit the rock. And I'll tell you the reason why in a moment. So for me, I believe that Atiku will not disclose it early. Now, if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar goes to the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president will not want to support Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, because I believe that this former president still carries the southern sentiment that power should remain in the south. And if you look at it, the former president Olusegun Obasanjo supported Peter Obi in the last presidential election, and the cordial relationship between him and Obi is still intact. So in that kind of instance, the former president will not just shift his ground when it is assumed that power should remain in the south for 8 years. So even if Tinubu is not the president, I think the former president will believe and desire that a Southerner should be there. And that brings us to the question, is there an Obi factor in all of this? If Atiku Abubakar do not push the Obi factor, I want to believe that the former president will push the Obi factor, because as at when he was pushing the Obi factor, he himself didn't know, or perhaps didn't believe, or perhaps didn't foresee that Peter Obi would amass over 6 million votes. For Peter Obi to have that impressive performance, the former president, as a military head of state, as a former president, definitely he would know that that is an impressive outing on the part of Peter Obi. So I see a situation whereby the former president will be pushing for a return of Obi, and an alliance should favor Obi. But it is not only Obi that the former president can push for. I will give you one more person, but then before I give you that other person that the former president can push for, which is no, don't let me give you that now. Before I give you that former person, let me say what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is likely to support and why, if power is to come to the south, which is that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar would most likely also support Peter Obi, in the sense that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar also nominated Peter Obi as his vice presidential candidate, his running mate. So for you to nominate somebody as your vice presidential candidate when you are the flag bearer of the party, it shows that you must have had great interest in the person. You must have had like some great commitment to the political career of that person, because you know that automatically that person is your political nest of kin. You know that if anything happens to you, that person is going to inherit you. So because you know that that person is your political nest of kin and is going to inherit you, definitely you will pick the person that you think is capable and competent. So for Peter Obi to have ticked that box, for somebody like Ifeanyi Okowa to have ticked that box, definitely if Atiku Abubakar wants to support the Southerner, it is most likely that he's going to support one of them. And that's where the Obi factor comes in between Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. So their interest seems to align. So this meeting is not too surprising if you look at the Obi effect in all of this, if they are looking for a strategic Southerner. Now, the other Southerner that they can use is Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the head of the Africa Development Bank. Recently, he had an interview with Arise News, Rufai Hussaini, and during the interview, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina stylishly disclosed his presidential ambition. And one of the people that can give him that strong backing is the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, because Adesina is Obasanjo's boy. He also has close ties with the former president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So I see a situation whereby it may be either between Peter Obi or the head of Africa Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina. So for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to say, I don't want to talk about politics, when they are inside, what would they be talking about if not politics, governance, and power? They would have talked politics, they would have talked governance, and also power, either how to retain or regain power in some state and also at the federal level. Now, let us look at something that is very important, and which is that we need to consider that is it possible for an Obasanjo and an Atiku Abubakar to align for the realization of an Atiku presidency? That is most unlikely, because the words that Obasanjo have said against Atiku will come back to hurt that candidacy if Obasanjo ever supports Atiku Abubakar for the president. And that itself, Obasanjo will not want to be caught in that way, because he has said some past bad statements about him. So if we look at it, definitely the odds tends to want to favor Peter Obi or Akinwumi Adesina. Now, is the APC in panic mode? The answer is more of maybe than maybe not, because the National Secretary of the APC, Senator Ajibola Bashir, said that, well, Obasanjo and Atiku Abubakar, they are indolent and lazy politicians, so they can meet and discuss whatever they like. Well, my first reaction to that is that Ajibola Bashir is being disrespectful, because for you to use the word indolent and lazy to somebody of the stature of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, when Obasanjo was the military head of state in the 70s, where was Senator Bashir at that point in time? I don't know whether he has even gotten the bearing of his life or he has made any landmark in life. So when you want to address somebody, you don't address people in such manner, particularly a former military head of state and a former president. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar also is not a small boy. So for you to now say these people are indolent and lazy because they are acting within their right to express their power to vote and be voted for, that is wrong. And we would be here when somebody passes salt at this Senator Bashir and he decides to take action. By the grace of God, God spare my life, I'll be here to use his matter to politic, and I will give him very, very hot, because now he would have forgotten the way he's insulting the former president and the former vice president. But 2027 is going to be interesting, and we look out for it. But like I always say, may God Almighty have the love of Nigeria at heart, and may the best happen for Nigeria. May the person that will bring growth, development, and prosperity to Nigeria, may that person be the person who will emerge as the president of Nigeria in 2027, because Nigeria needs that growth, development like never before. And may God spare our life till then, and we see how things go. It's an evolving story, and trust me to always bring you up to speed on politics and happenings in the politics. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode. Do well to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course I have great interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.